Welcome back, folks. You're tuning in to Stoic the Flow, where we dive deep into the psychology of human behavior. Today, I'm about to share an incredibly dark and powerful psychological secret that once you master it, will have them chasing you desperately, like a moth to a flame. But let me be clear, this isn't for the faint of heart. If you're ready to flip the script and take full control of your relationships and your life, you're in the right place. Right now, think about it. You're the one chasing. You're the one constantly reaching out, sending that text, checking your phone, hoping for the slightest sign of attention from someone who barely notices you. They're ignoring you, brushing you off like you're nothing. But let's be honest, you're still chasing. You're still hoping they'll notice, still waiting for that one moment where everything shifts. But here's the cold, hard truth. The more you chase, the more they pull away. The more effort you put in, the more distant they become. It's like trying to catch a butterfly. You get closer, but it flies further away. Now imagine this. What if you could flip that dynamic? What if, instead of chasing them, they were the ones chasing you? I'm not talking about the typical no-contact advice you've heard 1,000 times. That's basic, folks. It's not enough to just go silent and wait for them to realize your worth. Let me tell you, silence alone won't make them chase you. The truth is darker, deeper, and far more effective than anything you've heard before. So stick with me, because I'm about to reveal the real secret. The psychological game changer that will flip the entire power dynamic. Stay with me to the end, because you'll walk away with a technique so powerful, you'll wonder why no one ever taught you this before. Now close your eyes for a second and picture this. Imagine them chasing you. Picture them feeling that burning desire, that urgency you once felt, desperately wondering where you are, craving your attention, replaying every interaction with you in their mind. How does it feel when the tables turn? When they're the ones regretting the distance they put between you two? When they can't go a day without thinking of you, without wanting to know what you're doing? That's the power of this secret. This is where we're headed in this video, folks. You're about to learn how to create a psychological pull so strong they won't be able to resist. So if you're ready to master this dark art, hit that like button now. Every like helps us reach more people who are ready to take back their power and turn the tables in their favor. Let me break it down for you with a powerful example. Sarah has been chasing Max for weeks, maybe even months. She's the one texting, calling, trying to get his attention, hoping he'll notice her. But Max, he's been distant. He keeps her at arm's length, throwing her just enough crumbs to keep her hooked, but never enough to make her feel secure. But here's where the shift happens. Sarah, fed up with the one-sided chase, decides to disappear. She stops reaching out. She goes silent. And let me tell you, Max will feel that absence. It will hit him harder than you think. He'll wonder where she went, why she's not around anymore. He might even reach out. But here's the kicker. When he does, he'll see the same old Sarah he rejected 1,000 times. He won't be chasing her this time. In fact, he'll probably reject her again and move on with his life. Here's the dark truth no one wants to tell you. No contact isn't some magic trick. If you just vanish and expect them to suddenly care, you're only fooling yourself. People aren't that naive anymore. In 2024, we're smarter than that. So, what makes the difference? It's simple. You have to become someone else, someone they cannot ignore. It's not just about disappearing into the background. It's about vanishing, yes, but emerging as a completely upgraded version of yourself that is no longer available for their games. That's how you get them to chase. I'm talking about a 7-step process. Dark steps that will enter their mind like a psychological virus and completely rewire their thoughts about you. These steps will make you seem elusive, powerful, and irresistible. The moment you implement them, they'll be unable to think of anything else but you. So buckle up, because once you start this, there's no going back. Now let's get serious for a moment. I want you to repeat this affirmation out loud, because your words carry power. This is your declaration of control, your reminder of just how magnetic and irresistible you really are. Repeat after me. My silence drives them wild. And don't just say it, feel it. Write it down in the comments below. Let it sink in, because that silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's a presence that dominates their thoughts, invades their mind, and pulls them closer to you. The loudest roar in the world often comes from silence. When you embrace this power, you become an enigma, a force they can't resist. So go ahead, type it out. My silence drives them wild. Let the universe know that you're ready to harness this force. Remember what I told you, this isn't just some quick trick. These 7 dark steps will permanently shift your reality and put you in the driver's seat. Get ready to turn the tables and watch as they chase you desperately in a way you've never seen before. All right, let's dive into these 7 steps that will change everything. Stay tuned, because once you know what's coming, there's no going back. Step 1. The inscrutable response. So, you've gone silent. Now get ready. They'll reach out. It may take some time, but trust me, they'll come back. That first message. It's not a friendly check-in. It's them testing the waters. They're trying to figure out what happened, wondering where you've gone, whether you're still there, still waiting for them. It might be as casual as, "Hey, how have you been?" But don't be fooled. This is them seeking answers. And here's the kicker. If they find the same you they left behind, the eager one, the one still waiting, still explaining themselves, they'll just pull away again. They'll think, nothing's changed. They're still here, still revolving around me. But you're not that person anymore. This is where the inscrutable response works its magic. When they reach out, they're expecting a flood of answers, details, excuses, maybe even an apology. But instead, you give them something they'll never see coming, a response that keeps them hanging on the edge, wondering what just happened. Your reply should be short, cool, and just a touch distant. For example, if they text, "Where have you been?" or "What's up?" you hit them with something like, "Oh, I've just been busy with a few things that are more important. Let's break down why this stings." First, the response is brief. You're not giving them a novel, no long explanations, no pouring out your emotions. And here's the real power. By saying more important things, you're subtly implying that they're no longer your priority. You've shifted your focus to things that don't involve them, and that's exactly what messes with their mind. You've taken away the thing they relied on most, your attention. Now they're left wondering, what could be more important than me? Imagine their reaction. They used to be the center of your universe, the one you always made time for. But now, you've moved on to bigger, better things. That realization hits them like a ton of bricks. They'll start questioning everything. What could you possibly be doing that's so much more important than them? Some of you might be thinking, will they even care about such a simple response? Absolutely. People are drawn to the unknown, to the things they can't immediately figure out. When you leave them with more questions than answers, they'll start overthinking. They'll wonder what you've been up to, why you're suddenly so elusive. That sense of mystery, it's magnetic. It's like reading a book and finding the last chapter ripped out. That missing piece will drive them crazy, making them need to know what happens next. To bring it all together, your goal with the inscrutable response is to leave the door open just a crack, but don't give them a way in. You're creating a space where they can't reach you fully, and that space will keep them awake at night, obsessing over what you're up to and why you've changed. Some might call this playing games. But trust me, this isn't manipulation. It's about reclaiming your power. You're showing them that your world doesn't revolve around them anymore, that you've evolved into someone far more intriguing, someone they can't easily have. You're taking your silence and turning it into a force so magnetic, it speaks louder than words ever could. Here's a burning question some of you might have. Won't they just get frustrated and walk away? Maybe, but let me ask you this. Are you trying to keep them around by any means? Or are you trying to flip the script and make them see you in a new light? If they really care, if they truly want to understand what's happening with you, this response will pull them in deeper. Curiosity is a powerful thing. When people don't have all the answers, they get obsessed with finding them. Imagine them reading your message, busy with more important things, and replaying it over and over in their head. They'll wonder if you've met someone new, if you're working on something big, or if you're simply living a full, rich life without them. The more they try to figure it out, the more they'll ache with the desire to have access to you again. The more they want to know, the more power you hold. This step, the inscrutable response, is like planting a seed in their mind. You're letting them feel the distance, letting them wrestle with your choices, your new priorities. It's subtle, but its power is undeniable. The less you reveal, the more they will obsess over what they don't know. They'll keep checking their phone, hoping for a follow-up, desperate for you to slip up and give them more. But you won't. And if they ask for more details, if they text something like, "What's more important?" Here's where you really turn up the heat. Don't explain. Don't dive into the specifics. Just respond with something like, "Oh, just some exciting changes I've been working on." Vague, mysterious, and more than enough to drive them wild. They'll be piecing together every little clue they can find about you, trying to figure out this new, elusive version of yourself. Let me tell you, this step is only the beginning. As you get better at giving less, withholding just enough to keep them hooked, you'll see how quickly they start to view you differently. The mystery you create will become addictive, and soon they won't be able to look away. The goal here is simple. It's not about shutting them out entirely, but about creating a space so enticing, so intriguing, that they can't help but chase after you. The more they wonder, the more they'll crave answers, and the more they'll come to you to fill in the gaps. So, let's lock this down with an affirmation that will reinforce this new mindset. Say it with me. I am the mystery they crave. Write it down. Feel the power in those words, because this is just the beginning. Stick with me, because we've got even darker secrets to unlock. All right, folks, brace yourselves because we're diving into the psychological mirror. This is about reflecting back the energy they gave you, but with a twist. You've gone silent, you've created distance, but trust me, the impact you're making isn't passive. It's powerful. They're going to feel every bit of the distance they once made you feel, and it's going to get under their skin in ways they can't shake off. You're not waiting, you're not just gone, you're becoming a mirror that forces them to see everything they missed out on. Here's how this plays out. Think back to all those moments when they made you feel insignificant, when they left you hanging or doubting your worth. Every time they pulled away or made you feel small, you're now reflecting that back to them, without a single word. The psychological mirror isn't about making noise or responding. It's about showing them, through every subtle action, that the world you're building doesn't include them anymore. You're not just absent, you're evolving, and they're no longer part of your story. Now, imagine this. They start hearing through mutual friends that you're thriving, living your best life, doing the things they thought you never could. When they find out you're confidently moving forward, unbothered, it'll hit them hard. They'll start questioning what's changed. In that moment, they're not just wondering about you. They're seeing the mirror of their own actions reflected back at them. The indifference, the dismissiveness they once showed. It's now amplified by your transformation. Now they're the ones feeling the void, haunted by the fact that they were the ones who let you go. Some of you might ask, isn't this just ignoring them? No, 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 this is not passive. Ignoring is easy. Reflecting their energy back to them is an art form. You're not just silent, you're showing them, loud and clear, that you're no longer the person they thought they could control. You've become a mirror that doesn't just reflect who they are, it shows them who they could have had, who they lost. Think of it like this. People often take stability for granted until it shifts beneath them. The moment that foundation wavers, they're forced to recognize what they had and what they lost. That's exactly what the psychological mirror does. It forces them to face the unsettling truth. You've moved on. You're no longer waiting for their approval or validation. You're thriving, and they weren't ready for that version of you. When they realize that, it'll rattle them to their core. And here's the real kicker. The psychological mirror works because it's quiet. You're not forcing them to notice you. You're just living your life. And every time they hear about you, see a glimpse of you, or catch wind of your success, it's like a punch in the gut. They'll see you at events, surrounded by people, and not once will you be looking over your shoulder to see if they're watching. They'll see you becoming stronger, more confident, and radiant in ways they never imagined. You're no longer the person they can read. You're the person they'll never be able to forget. It's a haunting realization that gets under their skin. Every time they hear your name or see a post about you, they'll feel that sting. You're not the same anymore. And it's not because you're playing hard to get. It's because your life is no longer dependent on their attention. Your silence is no longer a void. It's a mirror that shows them exactly what they lost. Some of you might think, isn't this cold? Not at all. This isn't about being cruel. It's about reclaiming your power and setting a boundary. You're not shutting them out entirely. You're simply saying, I won't entertain the same half-hearted energy you gave me. You're not desperate for their attention. You've created a boundary that's magnetic. The more they sense your absence, the more they'll be drawn to the mystery you've become. The power of the psychological mirror lies in the fact that it doesn't shout. It simply reflects. You don't have to say a word to make them feel the distance between you. You're showing them, through your growth, that you no longer need them in your world. And that reflection will hit harder than any confrontation. So here's where it gets real. When they start to feel the weight of this distance, they'll be pulled to reconnect. They'll want to check in, to see if they can get back in your life. But here's the secret. Don't break the silence. Let them sit with the mirror you've created. You're not unreachable because you're playing games. You're unreachable because you've leveled up. Your world no longer has space for their half-hearted attempts to win you back. The psychological mirror works because it forces them to feel the emptiness they created. Every time they wonder about you, every time they hear about your life moving forward, they'll be forced to reckon with the truth. They were the ones who walked away. And that reflection? They won't be able to ignore it. Let's ground this in power. Repeat after me. I am the reflection they'll never escape. Write it down, feel it in your bones, and know this is just the beginning. The deeper, darker tactics are coming, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. Step 3. The elusive social media presence. All right, folks, it's time to turn your social media into a force to be reckoned with. We're talking about creating a presence so mysterious, so magnetic, that they can't help but be drawn to you. Think of yourself as a shadow, visible just enough to spark intense curiosity, but never fully revealing yourself. The key here is to show just enough to leave them wanting more, but never enough to satisfy their need for answers. When you post, you're not just sharing your life, you're curating an experience. No more endless selfies, no oversharing, and definitely no spilling all the details. You're crafting a carefully calculated, intentional presence that leaves them guessing. Forget overexposure. Instead, treat your social media like a high-stakes puzzle, one where critical pieces are missing. Maybe you post a picture of an incredible sunset, a shot of you out with friends at some exclusive spot, or a hint of something exciting on the horizon. But here's the trick: you never give them the full picture. They see a life that doesn't include them, but they're left wondering how the story ends. It's like you're writing the opening chapters of a novel, but always leaving them on the edge of a cliffhanger. They'll keep coming back trying to solve the mystery you've created. So, why does this work? Because people hate uncertainty. When someone can't see the whole picture, they start to fill in the blanks. They'll see that breathtaking view and immediately ask themselves, who are they with? What's going on in their life that I don't know about? That little gap, that unanswered question, will eat away at them. It turns you into a riddle they're desperate to solve, and believe me, human nature can't resist a mystery. Think of it like a magician performing a trick. You show them a glimpse of something mesmerizing, but they never get to see the entire illusion. You're leaving them with questions, with curiosity, and trust me, that curiosity is a force stronger than anything else. Every time they scroll through your profile, they'll be reminded of the version of you they no longer have access to. They see you thriving, confidently living a life they don't get to be a part of anymore, and it's that absence that haunts them. Now, let's talk about frequency. This isn't about posting every hour or sharing your every meal. It's about quality over quantity. A single perfectly placed photo, a story with zero context, or a mysterious post with no explanation can have more power than 100 updates. When you become a rare and elusive presence, each post packs a punch. They'll notice every little detail, they'll linger over every image, and with each glance, they'll feel that craving for something more. Some of you might be wondering, isn't this a bit too subtle? Will they even notice? Oh, they'll notice. People who were once part of your life, whether they admit it or not, are always watching. They might not interact, they might not acknowledge it, but they're paying attention. And when they see you out there, living without them, thriving without their validation, that's when the message hits hardest. You're moving on, and you're doing just fine without them. Picture this. It's late at night, and they're scrolling through your profile, hoping for just one clue. They want to know what you're doing, who you're with, what's going on in your life. But all they find are fragments, pieces of a puzzle they can't quite put together. You're leaving them hanging, and every glimpse of your life only deepens the mystery. It's like a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces. They want to complete it, but they can't. Here's the real magic. They might even try reaching out. Maybe a message just to check in, maybe a casual "what's up?" But here's where you stay in control. Don't give in. You're not obligated to fill in the blanks. You've already done the work by creating the mystery. Your life is private now, out of their reach, and that distance drives them crazy. It makes them question their place in your world, and that's the point. Remember this: the less they know, the more they crave. When you make yourself elusive, you become irresistible. You're no longer someone they can fully understand or predict, and that sense of uncertainty, it pulls them in every time. They'll be haunted by the question, who are you becoming? And they'll keep coming back, desperate for more answers, answers you don't have to give them. Let's lock this energy down with an affirmation. I am the mystery they can't ignore. Write it down, feel the power in those words, and know that this carefully curated social media presence is only one more layer of control you're building. This is just the beginning, folks. We're far from done. And if you haven't hit that like button yet, well, I don't know what to tell you. This video is definitely worth it. Keep it locked, because the best is yet to come. Step 4. The dark achievement. All right, folks, now we're stepping into the dark achievement, the kind of success that lingers in their mind like an unshakable shadow. This is the step where you turn your ambitions into such undeniable triumphs that they can't escape the sting of regret, no matter how far away they are. We're not talking about bragging or parading your accomplishments. No, this is about quietly becoming the person they'll always wish they hadn't let slip through their fingers. Picture this. You dive headfirst into your biggest goals. You pour your energy into the dreams, the projects, and the plans you once put on the back burner. Focus on your career, your health, your finances, or anything that fuels your drive. Now is your time to rise, but not for their benefit. You're doing it for you. Each milestone you hit is a reminder that you're growing, evolving, and reaching heights they never imagined, and they're not a part of it. Here's the secret sauce. Success doesn't need to be shouted from the rooftops. No, let your achievements unfold naturally. Let whispers of your progress leak out through the grapevine. Picture them hearing through mutual friends or stumbling across a subtle post showcasing your growth. They'll feel the cold edge of regret when they realize they've been left behind by this new, powerful version of you. And you know what they say, success is the best revenge. Trust me, when you're out there leveling up, they'll see just what they walked away from. You might be wondering, do they really care about my success? Oh, they care. People are drawn to growth, especially when it's someone they thought they already knew. When they see you thriving without them, it holds up a mirror to what they lost. That mirror is full of missed opportunities and deep regret. Every new goal you crush, every victory you secure, is a reminder that you're out of their league now, and they'll have to live with that realization. But don't limit success to just career or money. Your dark achievement can manifest anywhere. Maybe it's in your health, personal growth, or even adventures. Picture them hearing about you taking control of your fitness, traveling to exotic places, or mastering a new skill. Each achievement is a quiet but powerful statement. You're living a life they no longer have access to. Think of your life as a masterpiece that's constantly evolving. Every new layer you add, every achievement you unlock, makes the picture more intricate and powerful. And as they look on from the outside, they'll see a version of you that's unfamiliar, a version they don't get to be a part of anymore. That's the power of the dark achievement. It's the silent reminder that they missed out on something truly extraordinary. Some of you might be asking, isn't this just about moving on? Yes, but it's far more than that. Moving on is passive, achieving is active. You're not just leaving them behind. You're building yourself into the best version of you. You're not just moving forward, you're soaring. You're becoming someone they'll look back on with regret, wishing they hadn't let you go. So here's your challenge. Step into something meaningful, whether it's a new career goal, a passion project, or a personal transformation. Make it yours and make it shine. Let your success speak for itself. Let your triumphs be the silence that echoes in their mind, a reminder that while they took you for granted, you were busy building a life they'll never get to be part of. Let's wrap this up with a powerful affirmation. My success speaks louder than words. Write it down, say it aloud, and feel that power in your bones. This is your fuel, your driving force. Keep watching, because we're only getting started. The best is yet to come. Step 5. The unreachable aura. All right, folks, we're about to dive into the unreachable aura. This is the step where you craft a presence that feels tantalizingly out of reach, a version of yourself that's visible but untouchable. Picture becoming the person who's there, but never fully available. Someone they can sense, but can't easily access. This aura pulls them in while keeping them at arm's length, leaving them hungry for more, but never quite able to grasp what they want. The magic of the unreachable aura lies in its subtlety. You're not cutting them off completely. You're simply no longer an easy target. You're no longer the one who drops everything to reply immediately, no longer the one available at a moment's notice. You're out there living your life, chasing your own goals, exploring your own dreams, and creating a world that doesn't revolve around them. You're busy being the best version of yourself, and they're just an afterthought. Imagine this. They're used to knowing that they could reach you anytime with a simple message or call, but now you're elusive. You don't respond right away, and when you do, it's on your terms. Your presence is like a rare glimpse of something precious, a flash of light that's here one moment and gone the next. That's the allure. The less they can have you, the more they want you. And let's be real, human nature is wired to crave what's out of reach. Now, some of you might ask, isn't this just playing hard to get? No, not at all. This isn't a game. This is about establishing your worth. It's about creating a life that's so full and rich with meaning that they can no longer walk in and out of it whenever they feel like it. You're no longer bending over backward to accommodate their every whim. This shift says it loud and clear. You're no longer the center of my universe. You've drawn a line, and the line is not for them to cross whenever they choose. You're the one who calls the shots now. Here's the beauty of this step. The less available you are, the more valuable your presence becomes. When you stop being at everyone's beck and call, they'll start realizing how much they've taken you for granted. Every interaction with you, every moment they get, will feel like a privilege, something precious, something they can't take for granted anymore. And that realization, that feeling of losing access, it's exactly what draws them in deeper. They'll find themselves wondering if they've lost their place in your life, if they'll ever get close to you again. And that uncertainty, it's magnetic. People chase what they can't have. By creating this unreachable aura, you're signaling that you have a life that doesn't pause for anyone. Your time, your energy, your attention, they're not freely available. Every moment spent with you becomes an opportunity they'll start to crave, like something rare that can't be easily obtained. It's a hard pill for them to swallow, especially if they've always taken you for granted. Now they'll see just how much they don't have access to, and they'll want it back with everything they've got. So as you step into your own unreachable aura, remember, this isn't about playing a role or pretending to be something you're not. It's about respecting your own space, creating a boundary that speaks volumes. You're not shutting the door on them, you're just making them work for your attention. Let them feel the distance. Let them wonder if they'll ever get to truly know you again. Let's close this out with an affirmation. I am valued beyond reach. Write it down, say it aloud, and remember this. You're building an aura that makes them desperate to get close, but makes it impossible for them to truly access you. Stay tuned, because this journey is far from over. The deepest, most powerful tactics are still ahead. Step 6. The reconstructed persona. All right, folks, it's time to step into the reconstructed persona. This is where you transform into the version of yourself they never saw coming, the one who's leveled up, evolved, and left the past far behind. You're stepping into a brand new identity, stronger, more magnetic, and impossible to ignore, and letting that transformation speak louder than any words ever could. Picture this. You're dedicating time to yourself, investing in the parts of you that were once neglected or overlooked. Maybe you're crushing it in your fitness routine, diving into new hobbies that spark passion, climbing the ladder in your career, or adopting habits that push you toward the kind of life that excites and fulfills you. This isn't about just looking better, it's about becoming someone new from the inside out. You're not just upgrading your appearance or skills, you're reshaping your entire energy. You're stepping into the version of yourself who turns heads, commands attention, and walks into a room with that quiet confidence that makes everyone pause and take notice. This is the upgraded you, the next level version they never imagined. Now, here's where it gets truly powerful. You're not doing this for anyone's approval or validation. You're doing it because you finally realized that your worth has always been yours to define. This new version of you is focused, self-assured, and unstoppable. You're pursuing growth in every area of your life, and that alone is a magnetic force that draws people in. When you push past people's expectations, it's like you're stepping into a new dimension of yourself, and trust me, they will notice. You've become the person they underestimated, and now you're surpassing everything they thought they knew about you. So why go through all this effort? Because, my friends, there's nothing more electrifying than becoming the person they thought you'd never be. They left you, wrote you off, or simply didn't think you had it in you. But now you're showing them someone completely new, someone they can't quite figure out, someone they never had the chance to fully understand. This reconstructed persona isn't just a wake-up call. It's a full-on mystery they can't resist trying to solve. Imagine this. They hear the whispers of your transformation through mutual friends, or catch a glimpse of you out there living your best life, looking happier, more confident, and completely fulfilled. It's a hard pill for them to swallow. They'll realize they're no longer part of the journey. They're stuck on the outside, watching as you blossom into someone they no longer recognize. And that sting, that deep sense of loss, it's exactly what you want them to feel. It's like witnessing a phoenix rise from the ashes, knowing they had the chance to stand by your side as you transformed, and they missed it. Some of you might be thinking, isn't this just about putting on a mask, faking it? Not even close. The reconstructed persona isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about unleashing the most powerful, resilient parts of yourself that might have been held back or doubted. It's about shedding old layers, letting go of the past, and embracing a version of yourself that is both authentic and unstoppable. You're not just putting on a front, you're stepping into your truth and letting that truth radiate outward, leaving an impression they'll never forget. Step 7. The final emotional barrier. All right, folks, we've arrived at the ultimate game changer, the final emotional barrier. This is where you set the most powerful boundary of all, the line that not only defines who you are now, but also leaves a clear demarcation between your past and your future. This barrier isn't just for them, it's for you. It's a line they can't cross, a force field that says loud and clear, you can look, but you can't touch. The past is closed, and they'll feel the weight of that closure every single day from now on. This step isn't just a reaction, it's the culmination of everything you've done so far. They've watched you evolve, they've felt the absence, they've witnessed you grow into someone who is now completely out of reach. And now, the final piece, you're no longer emotionally available. Think of it as an impenetrable wall, a boundary that refuses to crumble under any amount of pressure. They'll realize that the deepest parts of you, the vulnerable, raw pieces they once had access to, are now sealed off for good. This isn't about bitterness or holding grudges. It's about safeguarding your peace, your well-being, and your sense of self. Imagine it like this. They're on the other side of that wall, desperately trying to break through, to reconnect, to find some way back into your life. But there's no bridge, no ladder, no path back to your heart. The doors are shut, the windows locked tight. Every attempt they make to reach you is met with a cold silence. They'll keep trying, maybe even repeatedly, hoping that the door will creak open just a little. But it won't. That version of you is gone, and it's never coming back. You might be asking, why set such an impenetrable boundary? Because they had their chance. They made their choice to walk away, to let you slip from their grasp as though you were just another option. And now, you're making it crystal clear that you're not optional. This boundary isn't just a wall to keep them out. It's a powerful reminder, not only to them, but to yourself, that you deserve respect, loyalty, and commitment. You've moved beyond the need for anyone else to affirm your worth. You already know your value, and now you're untouchable. Think of it like a fortress you've built around your heart, a fortress that's strong, whole, and impenetrable. They can feel the walls closing in on them with every failed attempt to reach you, every time they try to slip back into your world, only to realize that there's no place for them anymore. This final emotional barrier isn't just physical, it's psychological. It's a force they can sense in every part of their being. They'll understand that they no longer have access to your inner world, and that realization, it will haunt them far more than any angry words or accusations ever could. You might even expect them to try reaching out through mutual friends or leave you cryptic messages, testing the waters to see if you'll react. But each time they'll find that you're no longer playing the same game, you're no longer responding the way they expect. You've moved on, and this barrier you've put up isn't just a shield, it's a statement. You're no longer that person who would open the door just because they knocked. You're no longer waiting for their validation or approval. You're not even waiting for their apology. This boundary isn't about punishment, it's about self-respect. It's about standing firm in your power and saying, I won't allow anyone to disrespect me again. Let's be honest here. This final barrier will be the hardest for them to accept. They'll feel the distance, the empty space between you, and it will hit them like a ton of bricks. They'll wonder what it would take to get back inside, what they could do to break through that wall. But the truth is, nothing can. You've built this boundary with a level of strength they never saw coming, and they'll never be able to reclaim what they lost. The more they try, the more they'll realize that this is the final chapter. Once you've moved on, there's no going back. So, as you set up this final emotional barrier, remember, this is your line in the sand. A promise to yourself that you will never compromise your worth again, no matter who comes knocking. This isn't about revenge or holding on to grudges. This is about reclaiming your power. It's a testament to your growth, your resilience, and your unshakable self-respect. Let's lock in this final step with a powerful affirmation. I am unbreakable. Write it down, say it with unwavering conviction, and understand that this boundary isn't just the end, it's a new beginning. You've reached the end of this chapter, and now you are fully in control. The power is entirely yours. All right, folks, we've reached the final step in this incredible journey. And if you followed along with each stage, you've not only reclaimed your power, but you've transformed into someone they can't ignore. But let me be clear, this is just the beginning. The growth you've started here is only the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more ahead, and we're building a community of people who are committed to evolving, thriving, and supporting each other every step of the way. I want to thank you for being here, for investing in your own growth, and for choosing to step into the strongest, boldest version of yourself. You're not alone in this. We're all in this together. So subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments, and keep spreading the word. Let's keep pushing forward, leveling up, and building a powerful network of people who uplift and empower one another. You've got this, and we've got you. Let's do this.